Hello everyone and welcome to the Transit Nomad Family Romanian City Comparison. Should you visit Brasov or Bucharest in 2025? Before we get started, I'd like to let you know that I'm in Romania for a few weeks, and at the end of this trip, I'll be recording my final verdict video, comparing Romania with other countries to help you decide if you should visit, while also saving you lots of time and money with practical tips on how to get the most out of your trip. This will be an exclusive video, but you can easily gain access to it by subscribing or donating any amount on buymeacoffee.com/transitnomad or through the link in the video description below. With that being said, I'm currently located in Brasov. I've been here for a few days, but before coming here, I spent a few weeks in Bucharest. And one thing that stands out before everything else is the size. Bucharest is actually one of the biggest cities in Europe, and it certainly feels that this way. It's very large and it has a lot to offer, where Brasov is much smaller. It's not quite small, it's still a medium-sized city with a few 100,000 residents and a lot of visitors, but it feels more like mountain town with European charm. It's quite elegant and a little bit sophisticated, and it's a beautiful destination, but it doesn't feel like a very big metropolitan urban city the way that Bucharest feels. So another thing that stands out is the nature. Bucharest is a very green and beautiful city, but it's mostly flat, whereas Brasov offers a lot of scenic mountain views. And if you like hiking, especially going up, climbing up the mountains, Brasov offers a lot of activities like that, and Bucharest does not. The next thing I'd like to mention is public transportation. Bucharest is a lot more affordable when it comes to riding buses and trams and trolley buses and metro, whereas Brasov is a lot more expensive, and the difference is quite large. For example, if you want to buy a transit pass for a few days in Brasov, you will pay $15 for 3 days, which is kind of crazy. 15 American dollars is basically almost the same as the price you would pay in Los Angeles. In Bucharest, you would pay about $7 for the entire week of unlimited public transportation use. So it's a lot more accessible, but when it comes to quality, Bucharest is a little bit behind Brasov because there is no information about estimated arrival times of buses and trams and trolleys, and the schedules are not really followed accurately, so there are a lot of delays and sometimes buses are overcrowded. This is also an issue in Brasov, but I feel that the frequencies are a little bit higher here on some of the more popular routes, and also they do have some signs, digital signs with estimated bus arrival times, so overall experience might be a little bit smoother in Brasov, but still it's far from being perfect. And I would not say that Romanian public transportation is something that I would consider recommending to people. If you have the option to stay in the city center where you can walk or ride your bicycle, that would be preferred as opposed to relying on public transportation in Romania. Now, if you like a specific vintage kind of charm and European magical kind of feel, I think Brasov is a winner because it has a lot of really cool Western style buildings that are very colorful and very old. Some of them are not just 100 years old, they are actually a few hundred years old. They have the really cool black church that was built in the 14th or 15th century, which is really old, and you can feel that kind of energy, you can feel that kind of vibe of a medieval city, Middle Ages, a little bit Gothic. Also, Brasov is connected to the oldest stories about Dracula and vampires and all that stuff. They have a lot of connection here, and you can feel that kind of energy too. Whereas Bucharest is a lot more, it's more of a mix of different kinds of styles. There is a lot more Soviet style architecture, communist style architecture, you can see a lot of different grand projects that they were trying to accomplish, building these huge buildings, monumental buildings that their dictators wanted to build during the communist times. A lot of those projects, they were not actually finished, and because of that it looks kind of abandoned, and a lot of their historic buildings in Bucharest, unfortunately they had to demolish them because they had to make space for these grand projects, and because of that the city looks like it's a mix of different kinds of things. You see some Western architecture, you see some communist architecture, you see some older buildings, and you see some modern buildings, whereas in Brasov for the most part it's just this kind of buildings that we are looking at right now, which are kind of quaint, beautiful, elegant European buildings. They actually remind me of some smaller towns in Belgium. This kind of vibe is pretty cool if you are looking for something like this. Whereas in Bucharest, you're going to have a lot more variety, and some of that variety might not be very very attractive, because as we all know, communist architecture is not really the most attractive, not the most beautiful, especially outside of the buildings that are located in the very main city center. The rest of the residential buildings are just kind of typical and average, and they almost look the same. And also I noticed that in Bucharest there are a lot of buildings that are really worn down, or they are not being very well taken care of. So you will see a lot of buildings that are missing windows or glass, or walls that are like falling apart. Also a lot of graffiti, and it's very common to have like a walk and everything looks great, and then all of a sudden everything looks really, really rough, and then suddenly everything looks great again. This is something you might expect in Bucharest, but in Brasov it feels like they take care of it a little bit more, maybe because they try to focus a little bit more on tourists and visitors. They want to make it look more attractive, but it certainly feels like it's being taken care of a little bit more. When it comes to prices of food and accommodations and shopping, I think it's kind of similar. Brasov is not really much more expensive than Bucharest, but in Bucharest you might find more choices, more variety of different things, because it's a bigger city. It has a lot of different neighborhoods, a lot of different markets, a lot of different stores, and if you are into shopping or buying things, it's going to give you a better variety. Also, when it comes to concerts and shows and different kinds of activities, you're going to find a lot more choices in Bucharest, because it is a bigger city. And if you're looking for a place to stay long term, Bucharest is going to be a better choice, because you're going to have more options when it comes to basically everything. The only reason why I would recommend Brasov over Bucharest is if you are having a very, very short term trip and you have to choose one city just for a couple of days. Brasov might give you a better experience if it's a very short-term trip, or if you really want to explore the mountains and go hiking, or you really must visit the castles that are connected to Dracula and explore this part of Romania, Transylvania, then Brasov might be the winner. But for the most part, I think Bucharest is going to give you more things to do, more places to visit, and overall better experience, especially if you are traveling longer term. If it's at least a week, maybe a couple of weeks, I would prefer staying longer in Bucharest than in Brasov. But of course, if you have a choice, it's best to visit both. They are actually located not that far apart. Depending on what kind of train you take, it's between 2 and 4 hours away. So you can easily stay in Bucharest and do a day trip and visit Brasov, or do it the other way around, stay in Brasov and take a train to Bucharest. The ride I took me only 3 hours, and the train ticket price was about $7 American, which is very affordable in my opinion. So you can easily see both cities, and that would be my recommendation, because they are quite different. You almost feel like you are in different countries. It's very different vibe, and both cities are unique in their own way. With that being said, I would like to remind you that as an active traveler and business owner with experience, I might be able to assist you with trip planning, life coaching, and business consulting, with all the details available at buymeacoffee.com/transitnomad. Always through the link in the video description below. This is where you can also find lots of exclusive content on many different cities around the world, my secret tips, PDF guides, and the option to request a custom video on any topic that matters to you. Thank you everyone for watching, commenting, liking, and subscribing. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.